My jealous sister-in-law demanded to know my baby names so she could use them first. I fed her fake names and she actually fell for it, but my response wasn't what she expected. I'm Maya, 31F, and I've been married to David, 34M, for 4 years. We have a 2-year-old son and I'm currently expecting twins, a boy and a girl. This situation involves David's sister-in-law Rachel, 36F, who is married to his brother Marcus, 39M. They've been married for 6 years. Rachel and I are complete opposites. She's loud, always the center of attention at family gatherings, and has opinions about everything. I prefer staying quiet and watching people. When David first introduced me to his family, I told him Rachel and I would never be close friends. We've maintained a polite but distant relationship ever since. The problem started during my first pregnancy 2 years ago. Rachel and Marcus had been trying to have kids for years with no success. During family dinners, whenever someone mentioned my pregnancy, Rachel would either change the subject immediately or make comments about how pregnancy wasn't that special since millions of women do it every day. Then she'd disappear to the bathroom for long periods. About halfway through my pregnancy, Rachel suddenly offered to plan my baby shower. I declined politely, saying my mom and sister already had it covered. She kept insisting for weeks until I had to be more direct about not wanting her involved. The strangest behavior started after we announced we were having a boy. Rachel became obsessed with finding out what we planned to name him. Every family gathering, every phone call, every text message, she'd ask about the name. When I'd tell her we weren't sharing it until birth, she'd get visibly annoyed and make comments about how secretive we were being. David and I had chosen a traditional Irish name that wasn't common in our area. After our son was born and we announced his name, Rachel wouldn't stop talking about how unique and beautiful it was. She'd bring it up at every opportunity, telling everyone how she'd never heard such a perfect name before. This went on for months. Fast forward to this year. Rachel finally got pregnant around the same time I conceived the twins. She was about 8 weeks ahead of me. The moment we announced we were having twins, she started the name interrogation again, but this time she wanted both names since we were having one of each. Her comments also became nastier. She'd make jokes about how I'd probably gain twice as much weight with twins and how my body would never recover. When someone congratulated us at a family barbecue, she loudly announced that we'd obviously gotten pregnant on purpose right after her announcement to steal her thunder. Everyone knew we'd been trying for a second child for over a year. I decided to ignore her comments completely. Rachel thrives on drama and arguments, so I figured the best way to annoy her was to give her no reaction at all. After weeks of her constantly asking about the twin names, I started getting suspicious. I asked David if he thought Rachel wanted to know our names so she could use them first since she was due earlier. He laughed at first, then realized I was serious. After thinking about it, he admitted it was possible. That's when I decided to test my theory. David's dad was having his 60th birthday party at our house the following weekend. We'd been slowly setting up a nursery for the twins in our spare bedroom, though it wasn't finished yet. I came up with a plan to leave fake names somewhere Rachel might find them if she went snooping. I went online and designed custom wall decals with 2 names I liked but weren't anywhere close to our actual choices, Emma Claire and Noah James. I went through the entire ordering process but stopped right before submitting payment. Instead, I printed out the final order confirmation page that showed both names clearly. The night before the party, I folded the paper and tucked it into the middle drawer of the dresser in the nursery, making it look like it had been carelessly shoved in there. I made sure one corner was sticking out just enough to be noticeable if someone opened the drawer. David thought my plan was ridiculous but agreed to a $20 bet that Rachel wouldn't snoop. The party was at our house, so we were busy hosting and didn't pay attention to where Rachel went throughout the evening. The next morning, I checked the nursery. Everything looked exactly the same. The paper was still in the drawer in the exact position I'd left it. David and I figured the test had failed and forgot about it. But then I noticed something interesting. Rachel completely stopped asking about our baby names after that party. For someone who had been pestering us daily for weeks, the sudden silence seemed odd. Rachel gave birth to her son 3 weeks later. David and I went to the hospital to meet our new nephew. When I asked about the baby's name, Rachel got this huge grin on her face and announced it was Noah James. She looked directly at me when she said it, like she was waiting for some big reaction. Instead of acting upset, I went completely overboard with enthusiasm. I gushed about how gorgeous the name was, how perfect it sounded, how lucky they were to pick such a beautiful combination. I kept going for a full minute while Rachel's expression changed from smug satisfaction to confusion to visible frustration. David was trying not to laugh beside me. Later in the elevator, he handed me $20 while shaking his head. We didn't see Rachel and Marcus for the next couple weeks, giving them space with their new baby. David's mom mentioned that Rachel seemed to be struggling more than expected with new motherhood, possibly dealing with baby blues. When I told my sister about the whole situation, she laughed at first but then said I was kind of mean for setting Rachel up like that. I can't decide if what I did was wrong. Rachel had been making my pregnancy miserable with her constant demands and rude comments. The fake names weren't even names I cared about using someday. But maybe I went too far with the trap. Should I feel bad about this? Update 1: The situation with Rachel has gotten more complicated than I expected. First, let me give you more background about why Rachel and I have never gotten along. The issue started when David and I got engaged after dating for only 8 months. Rachel made several comments to family members about how I was rushing David into marriage and probably trapped him somehow. When David's grandmother mentioned how excited she was to have another granddaughter, Rachel made a point of saying she hoped David was sure about his choice. Our wedding made things worse. David and I had a traditional church ceremony with 150 guests, followed by a reception at a country club. We took a honeymoon in Ireland for 10 days. Meanwhile, Rachel and Marcus had gotten married at City Hall with just immediate family, then went to dinner at a chain restaurant. Marcus had proposed after Rachel gave him an ultimatum about marriage, which the whole family knew about. Rachel also struggled with the fact that David's family embraced me immediately. His mom and I have similar interests and personalities. His grandmother, who everyone calls Nana, started including me in her weekly shopping trips and Sunday dinners right away. Rachel had been with Marcus for 3 years before they married, but Nana had never warmed up to her the same way. The contrast became even more obvious after David and I bought our house in the suburbs 2 years ago. Rachel and Marcus still rent a small apartment in the city because they can't afford to buy anything in their area. David and I both have steady corporate jobs with good benefits, while Rachel and Marcus work retail jobs with unpredictable schedules. About a year ago at Marcus's birthday party, Rachel had too much to drink and got into an argument with him about money. In front of everyone, she announced that she should have married David instead of Marcus because David actually had his life together. The whole family went silent. I wasn't even surprised. I'd suspected Rachel had feelings for David for years based on how she acted around him. I responded by asking which brother she meant, since that would be inappropriate either way considering David and Marcus have a younger brother Tyler who's only 25. Rachel lost her temper completely and started yelling at me for twisting her words. She claimed the next day that she didn't remember saying anything inappropriate. Now for the current update. David's mom came over yesterday to discuss plans for my baby shower next month. I'm due in late January, but twins often come early, so we're planning for December. While she was here, I asked how Rachel and Marcus were adjusting to parenthood. David's mom sat down with a heavy sigh and said it was complicated. According to her, Rachel and Marcus were fighting about baby names even before delivery. Rachel had spent months making lists of girl names but refused to consider boy names. When Marcus asked about it, Rachel insisted the baby would definitely be a girl. If by some chance it was a boy, she wanted to name him Marcus Jr. This caused a huge argument because Marcus's older son from a previous relationship isn't named after him. The boy lives with his mother in another state and visits twice a year. Marcus felt naming the new baby Junior would be unfair to his first son. David's mom explained that Rachel had convinced herself she was having a girl because she wanted one so badly. Rachel refused to find out the gender during pregnancy because she was afraid of being disappointed. She kept saying she needed to enjoy her pregnancy, believing she was carrying a daughter. The family dynamics made Rachel's desire for a girl even stronger. David's mom is the only daughter in a family of 3 boys, and she had 3 sons herself. My son was her first grandson, but my daughter would be her first granddaughter in decades. When we announced we were having a girl, David's mom actually cried with happiness. David's mom has always been polite to Rachel, but they never bonded. She's obsessed with my toddler son in the sweetest way. They have special grandmother-grandson activities every week. Rachel watched this relationship develop and became convinced that having a daughter would finally make David's mom love her the same way. When Rachel gave birth to another grandson instead of the granddaughter she'd planned for, something shifted in her mind. The hospital scene was even messier than I realized. Rachel and Marcus were still arguing about names when David and I arrived. Rachel had never mentioned Noah James to Marcus before that moment. When she announced it to us, Marcus looked shocked and angry. He had no idea where those names came from and didn't like them at all. Marcus refused to sign the birth certificate with those names. They left the hospital without registering any name for the baby. According to state law, parents have 10 days after birth to register a name. Rachel finally told Marcus to choose whatever he wanted because she didn't care anymore. Marcus picked Jordan Ali, Jordan after his favorite basketball player and Ali after the boxer. He kept the Ali from Rachel's announced name but changed everything else. So the baby was never actually named Noah James. Rachel's attempt to use my fake names lasted exactly as long as it took Marcus to put his foot down. David's mom says Rachel has been withdrawn since coming home from the hospital. She takes care of the baby's basic needs but seems disconnected from everything else. She broke down crying to David's mom last week, saying she'll probably never have a daughter because of her age and their previous fertility struggles. I actually feel bad for Rachel now, despite everything she's put me through. Having a baby who's healthy should be enough, but I understand being disappointed when you've built up expectations for months. The ironic part is that Rachel's breakdown might actually bring her closer to David's mom, since they now share the experience of only having sons when they desperately wanted daughters. Rachel still doesn't know I set her up with the fake names, and I haven't told anyone in the family about my trap. Some people might say I should confess, but I don't see the point in making things worse for her right now. I'm not sorry for what I did. Rachel made my pregnancy stressful with her constant demands and rude comments. But I'm also not cruel enough to kick someone when they're already down. Update 2: Rachel found out about my name trap, and the fallout has been worse than I expected. I gave birth to the twins in early January, Emma Rose and Samuel David. Yes, Emma was actually one of my fake names, but it was also genuinely on our list for girls long before the trap. Pure coincidence that caused additional drama later. Both babies are healthy and we're adjusting well to having 3 kids under 3 years old. David took 2 weeks off work to help, and his mom has been coming over daily to assist with the older kids. The trouble started when David's mom was holding Emma and mentioned how beautiful the name was. She said she remembered seeing it somewhere recently but couldn't recall where. I made some generic comment about it being a popular name. That evening, David's mom called me. She'd remembered where she saw the name Emma, on a piece of paper in our nursery dresser drawer the night of David's dad's birthday party. She explained that she'd been looking for baby wipes during the party when one of the kids had an accident. I'd told her there were supplies in the nursery dresser. When she opened the drawer, she saw the corner of a paper sticking out and pulled it to push it down properly. She'd glanced at it and seen both names, Emma Claire and Noah James. David's mom had assumed those were our chosen names and didn't think much about it at the time. But when Rachel announced Noah James at the hospital, David's mom realized Rachel must have seen the same paper somehow. She put the pieces together. Rachel had snooped in our nursery, found what she thought were our real names, and tried to use one of them first. David's mom was upset that Rachel had gone through our personal things and that I'd felt the need to set a trap. I decided to tell her the whole truth about my suspicions and the fake name setup. David's mom wasn't happy about the deception, but she understood why I'd done it. She was more angry about Rachel snooping than my trap. The problem came when David's mom couldn't keep the story to herself. She told David's dad, who told Marcus during a phone conversation about something else entirely. Marcus confronted Rachel, who initially denied everything but eventually admitted to going through our dresser drawer. According to Marcus, Rachel broke down completely when she realized we'd tricked her. She admitted she'd been planning to use whatever name she found because she thought it would upset me and make her feel better about her own disappointments. She'd spent months resenting my pregnancy and wanting to ruin something for me the way her fertility struggles had ruined things for her. Marcus was furious, not just about the snooping, but about Rachel's admission that she'd tried to name their son specifically to hurt me. He told her she needed to apologize to both David and me immediately. Rachel refused. She said I'd humiliated her by setting her up, and she wasn't apologizing for anything. She claimed I was manipulative and had turned the whole family against her. This led to a huge fight between Rachel and Marcus. He pointed out that she'd brought all of this on herself by going through our personal belongings and trying to steal our baby names out of spite. Rachel accused him of taking my side over his own wife's. The argument escalated when Marcus mentioned that he'd never liked the name Noah James anyway and was glad they'd ended up with Jordan Ali instead. Rachel screamed that she hated the name Jordan Ali and wished she'd never had a baby at all if it wasn't going to be a girl. Marcus moved out that night and has been staying with David's parents for the past 3 weeks. He's been taking care of baby Jordan during the day while Rachel works, then returning Jordan to her at night. They're barely speaking to each other. David's mom is caught in the middle, trying to help with both grandsons while Marcus and Rachel figure out their marriage. She's stressed about the situation and worried about baby Jordan being affected by all the tension. Rachel has been telling anyone who will listen that I'm a terrible person who destroyed her marriage with my scheming. She's convinced some of Marcus's co-workers and a few extended family members that I'm manipulative and cruel. David is furious with his brother and Rachel for dragging our newborn babies into their drama. He wants to cut contact with them entirely until they sort out their problems. I'm inclined to agree, but David's mom is begging us not to make things worse by creating more family divisions. I didn't expect my little test to uncover this level of dysfunction in Rachel and Marcus's relationship. All I wanted was to confirm my suspicions about the name stealing. Now there's a baby caught in the middle of parents who can't be in the same room together. Part of me feels guilty for starting this chain of events, but a bigger part of me thinks Rachel's behavior was always going to cause problems eventually. I just happened to be the catalyst that brought everything to light. Update 3: Rachel and Marcus got divorced, and Rachel has disappeared from our lives completely. The divorce proceedings moved quickly because they'd only been married 6 years and didn't own much together. Marcus kept their apartment lease and furniture. Rachel moved back in with her parents in another city about 2 hours away. The custody arrangement for baby Jordan became the biggest issue. Rachel initially demanded full custody, claiming Marcus's work schedule was too unpredictable for him to be a reliable parent. Marcus countered by bringing up Rachel's admission that she'd wished she'd never had the baby. David's mom ended up testifying about Rachel's behavior during the whole name situation, including her confession about trying to hurt me deliberately. The judge wasn't impressed with someone who would use their baby's name as a weapon against family members. Marcus got primary custody with Rachel having supervised visits every other weekend. She has to drive to our city for the visits because the judge didn't want baby Jordan traveling back and forth constantly. David's parents supervised the visits at their house. For the first month, Rachel showed up for her scheduled visits and followed the rules. But she seemed disconnected from Jordan during the visits, often handing him off to David's mom while she sat on her phone or watched television. Then Rachel started missing visits. First one, then 2 in a row, then entire months would go by without contact. She stopped returning Marcus's calls about scheduling makeup visits. When David's mom tried to reach out, Rachel's phone went straight to voicemail. We found out through social media that Rachel had started dating someone new, a guy she'd apparently met through work before moving back with her parents. Her Instagram post showed them traveling together, going out to restaurants, basically living like a childless couple in their 20s. Marcus was devastated. Despite everything that had happened, he'd hoped Rachel would step up as a mother to Jordan. He'd been dealing with his own guilt about their marriage falling apart and wondering if he could have handled things differently. David's mom stepped in to help Marcus with childcare while he worked. She basically became Jordan's primary caregiver during the day, which worked out well since she was already watching my 3 kids regularly. The cousins are growing up together, which has been good for everyone involved. Rachel made one final appearance at a family gathering for David's grandmother's 80th birthday last month. She showed up uninvited with her new boyfriend, apparently expecting to be welcomed back like nothing had happened. The atmosphere got tense immediately. Rachel's boyfriend seemed uncomfortable when he realized the family situation he'd walked into. Rachel tried to act like everything was normal, asking to hold Jordan and making comments about how much he'd grown. Marcus took Jordan back after a few minutes and told Rachel she wasn't supposed to be there outside of scheduled visits. Rachel said she was family and had every right to attend family events. David's dad finally spoke up and told Rachel she'd lost the right to show up unannounced when she'd spent months ignoring her son and badmouthing family members. He asked her and her boyfriend to leave. Rachel started crying and said everyone had turned against her over something that wasn't even her fault. She claimed I had ruined her life with my manipulation and that nobody cared about her side of the story. I'd been quiet through the whole confrontation, but that comment made me speak up. I told Rachel that going through my personal belongings and trying to steal my baby's name out of spite was her choice, not mine. I said she'd created every problem in her own life and needed to stop blaming other people for her decisions. Rachel called me names I won't repeat here and said she hoped I'd be miserable for the rest of my life. Her boyfriend looked mortified and started pulling her toward the door. They left while she was still yelling accusations at various family members. That was 2 months ago. Rachel hasn't contacted anyone in the family since then. Marcus heard through mutual friends that she and her boyfriend moved in together somewhere out of state. She's apparently told people that her ex-husband's family kept her from seeing her son, which is completely false but easier than admitting she chose her new relationship over her child. Marcus has been doing well as a single father. Jordan is a happy, healthy baby who lights up when he sees his dad or grandparents. Marcus started dating someone new recently, a woman who works at his company and has 2 kids of her own from a previous marriage. She seems understanding about his situation and gets along well with Jordan. As for me, I don't regret setting the name trap at all. Rachel's reaction to being caught revealed exactly who she was as a person. Someone who would abandon their baby because they couldn't handle being exposed for petty, spiteful behavior was never going to be a good mother anyway. My twins are thriving, and my older son loves being a big brother. David and I are tired but happy with our 3 kids. David's relationship with Marcus has actually gotten stronger through all of this. They talk regularly now and support each other as fathers. The family gatherings are much more peaceful without Rachel's drama and negativity. David's mom can focus on being a grandmother instead of managing Rachel's emotional outbursts. Even David's dad, who usually stays out of family conflicts, has commented on how much more relaxed everyone seems. Sometimes people ask if I feel bad about how everything turned out. The truth is, I didn't cause Rachel to abandon her baby or destroy her marriage. I just created a situation that showed her true character. She could have handled being caught gracefully, apologized for snooping, and moved on with her life. Instead, she chose to burn down every relationship she had rather than take responsibility for her actions. Jordan is better off without a mother who resented his existence from the moment he was born. Marcus is better off without a wife who married him as a consolation prize and spent years wishing she'd chosen someone else. The whole family is better off without someone who brought constant drama and negativity to every gathering. My name trap worked better than I ever imagined it would. I thought I'd just catch Rachel being nosy and maybe embarrass her a little. Instead, I accidentally helped a baby escape a toxic mother and helped Marcus escape a toxic marriage. Sometimes the best thing you can do for people is give them enough rope to hang themselves with. Now let's move to the next story. Story 2. After years of trying for a baby, my wife cheated with my best friend, and got pregnant. Now they want me to raise the baby as my own, but I divorced her. I never thought I'd be in this position, pouring my heart out to strangers on the internet, but here I am. My name is Matt, 32M, and my world has been turned upside down. I've been married to Sophie, 30F, for 5 years, and we've known each other since college. We met at a campus party. I remember the way her eyes lit up when she talked about her passion for marine biology. Our relationship started as a friendship. We'd study together in the library, grab coffee between classes, and hang out with our group of friends. It wasn't until our senior year that things shifted. We were at a beach bonfire with our friends, and as we sat watching the waves, Sophie turned to me and said, "You know, I think I'm falling for you." My heart nearly leapt out of my chest. I had been harboring feelings for her for months but was too afraid to ruin our friendship. From that moment on, we were inseparable. After graduation, we both landed jobs in the same city. I started working at a marketing firm, while Sophie pursued her dream of working at the local aquarium. We moved in together after dating for a year, sharing a tiny one-bedroom apartment that barely fit our combined belongings. But we were happy, building our life together one day at a time. 2 years into our relationship, I decided to propose. I planned an elaborate surprise, enlisting the help of our friends and family. I took Sophie on a scavenger hunt around the city, revisiting all our favorite spots. The final clue led her to the aquarium where she worked, and there, in front of the giant shark tank, I got down on one knee. She said yes before I could even finish asking the question. Our wedding was a joyous affair, filled with laughter and love. My best friend, Mark, 33M, stood by my side as my best man. Mark and I had been friends since high school, bonding over our shared love of basketball and terrible sci-fi movies. He had been there for me through every major moment in my life, and I couldn't imagine my wedding day without him. Life was good for the first few years of our marriage. Sophie and I both advanced in our careers. I became a senior account manager at my firm, while Sophie was promoted to lead marine biologist at the aquarium. We bought our first home, a cozy 3-bedroom house with a small backyard where we talked about our future children playing. Mark remained a constant presence in our lives. He was over at our house so often that we joked about him being our permanent houseguest. He'd join us for dinner, game nights, and weekend trips. I never once suspected anything was amiss. In fact, I was grateful that my wife and my best friend got along so well. About a year ago, Sophie and I started talking about having children. We had always wanted a family, and we felt like we were finally in a good place financially and emotionally to take that step. We were excited about the prospect of becoming parents, imagining what our kids would look like and debating potential names. Months went by without success, and we started to worry. We tried to stay positive, telling ourselves that these things take time. But as more time passed, the strain began to show. Sophie became obsessed with tracking her ovulation, and our once spontaneous and loving intimacy became scheduled and mechanical. After a year of trying with no success, we decided to see a fertility specialist. Dr. Johnson was kind and understanding as she ran us through a battery of tests. When the results came back, my world shattered. I had a low sperm count, which was making it difficult for us to conceive naturally. This news hit me like a ton of bricks. I felt like less of a man, like I was failing Sophie in our dream of having a family. Even though Sophie assured me that it didn't change how she felt about me, I could see the disappointment in her eyes. We discussed our options, including IVF and adoption, but decided to keep trying naturally for a while longer, supplementing with some lifestyle changes and supplements recommended by Dr. Johnson. During this time, I noticed that Sophie seemed distant. She was working late more often and spending a lot of time texting. I brushed it off as stress from work and our fertility struggles. I threw myself into my work, taking on extra projects to distract myself from the sense of inadequacy that plagued me. Mark was around more frequently during this time, offering support and trying to cheer us both up. He'd bring over dinner when Sophie was working late, or invite me out for drinks when I was feeling down. I was grateful for his presence, thinking he was being a good friend during a difficult time. Looking back, I wonder how I could have been so blind. Last week, everything came crashing down. I had a half day at work and decided to come home early, hoping to surprise Sophie with flowers and take her out for dinner. As I pulled into our driveway, I noticed Mark's car parked on the street. I thought nothing of it, assuming he had stopped by to hang out. When I walked into our house, I heard noises coming from upstairs. As I climbed the stairs, my heart started racing, though I couldn't explain why. I pushed open our bedroom door, and the sight before me will be forever burned into my memory. Sophie and Mark were in our bed, so engrossed in each other that they didn't even notice me at first. The shock and betrayal I felt in that moment are indescribable. It was like the ground had disappeared from beneath my feet. I must have made a sound because they suddenly looked up, their faces changing from passion to horror in an instant. They both scrambled to explain, but their words were just noise to me. I turned and left the house in a daze, their shouts fading behind me as I got in my car and drove away. I drove aimlessly for hours, my mind replaying what I had seen over and over again. When I finally returned home, Sophie was waiting for me, her eyes red and puffy from crying. She begged for forgiveness, saying it was a mistake and that she loved me. But as she talked, the full extent of her betrayal became clear. She confessed that she and Mark had been having an affair for the past 6 months. But the worst was yet to come. With tears streaming down her face, Sophie told me she was pregnant, and the baby was Mark's. They had gotten careless with protection, thinking that my fertility issues meant there was no risk. The irony of the situation was almost too much to bear. I've been staying at a hotel for the past few days, trying to process everything. Sophie has been calling and texting nonstop, pleading for another chance. She says she made a terrible mistake, that she was feeling lonely and insecure because of our fertility issues. She swears that she loves me and wants to make our marriage work. Mark has also reached out, leaving voicemails full of apologies and promises to make things right. But I don't see how I can ever forgive either of them for this betrayal. The two people I trusted most in the world have betrayed me in the worst possible way. My parents and siblings have been incredibly supportive. My younger sister, Rachel, 28F, has been checking on me daily, bringing me home-cooked meals and offering a shoulder to cry on. My parents have offered me a place to stay and are helping me find a good divorce lawyer. I'm grateful for their support, but I still feel lost and alone. The future I had planned with Sophie is gone, and I'm struggling to imagine what comes next. The home we built together, the dreams we shared, all of it feels tainted now. And then there's the baby, a child I desperately wanted, now growing inside my wife, fathered by my best friend. The complexity of emotions I feel about this unborn child is overwhelming. I know I need to make some decisions soon. Do I try to work things out with Sophie for the sake of our history together? Can I ever trust her again? Do I walk away and start fresh? And what about the baby? Even though it's not mine biologically, part of me feels a connection to this child that Sophie and I wanted so badly. I'm angry, hurt, and confused. Any advice on how to move forward would be appreciated. I never thought I'd be in this situation, and I'm not sure how to navigate it. How do you rebuild your life when the foundation you thought was solid turns out to be built on lies? Update 1. It's been a month since my last post, and I wanted to give an update on my situation. First, I want to thank everyone for their kind words and advice. The support from this community has been a lifeline during this difficult time. After much soul-searching and several conversations with my family and a therapist, I've decided to file for divorce. The betrayal by both Sophie and Mark is simply too deep for me to overcome. It's not just the physical affair, but the months of lies and deceit that I can't get past. I've realized that I deserve better than a wife who would cheat on me, especially with my best friend. The process of filing for divorce has been emotionally draining. Each piece of paperwork feels like another nail in the coffin of the life I thought I would have. My lawyer, a kind but no-nonsense woman named Sandra, has been guiding me through the process. She's been invaluable in helping me understand my rights and what to expect. Sophie initially tried to contest the divorce, claiming that we could work things out. She's been sending me long emails detailing how sorry she is and how much she wants to make our marriage work. She even suggested couples counseling, but I've remained firm in my decision. I can't see a way forward where I could ever trust her again. As for Mark, I've cut all ties with him. He continued to reach out, even showing up at my parents' house where I've been staying. The sight of him standing on the porch, looking remorseful, brought all my anger rushing back. I made it clear that I want nothing to do with him, and I've blocked his number and all social media accounts. It's strange to think that someone who was such a big part of my life for so long is now essentially a stranger. The hardest part has been dealing with the news of Sophie's pregnancy. She's now about 4 months along, and it's been difficult to see her starting to show when I've run into her around town. I've struggled with feelings of anger and resentment towards the baby, even though I know it's not the child's fault. There's a part of me that still yearns for the family we had planned together, and seeing the physical evidence of Sophie and Mark's betrayal is like a knife twisting in my gut. Sophie has asked me to reconsider my decision, saying that we could raise the baby together and that she still loves me. But I can't imagine raising my best friend's child as my own, especially given the circumstances of its conception. The thought of looking at that child every day and being reminded of their betrayal is more than I can bear. My family has been my rock throughout this process. My sister, Rachel, has been particularly helpful. She's often staying with me, making sure I'm eating properly and not wallowing in my misery. She's even helped me start looking for a new apartment, as I know I can't stay with my parents forever. Her unwavering support has been a bright spot in this dark time. Work has been a welcome distraction, and I've thrown myself into new projects. My boss, John, has been understanding of my situation and has given me some flexibility with my schedule to deal with legal meetings and appointments. I'm grateful for the support, but it's also been challenging to maintain my focus when my personal life is in such turmoil. I've started seeing a therapist regularly to help me process my emotions and work through the trauma of this betrayal. Dr. Martinez has been helping me unpack not just the pain of the affair, but also the feelings of inadequacy stemming from our fertility issues. It's been helpful to have a neutral party to talk to about everything, someone who can offer perspective when I feel lost in my own thoughts. As I move forward with the divorce proceedings, I'm trying to focus on rebuilding my life. I've started working out regularly, finding that the physical exertion helps clear my mind. I've also reconnected with some old friends who I had lost touch with over the years. It's been nice to remember that there are people in my life beyond Sophie and Mark. The road ahead still seems long and uncertain. There are days when I wake up and for a split second, everything is normal. Then the reality of my situation comes crashing back, and it feels like I'm drowning. But I'm taking it one day at a time. I'm hopeful that with time, I'll be able to heal and maybe even find love again someday. For now, I'm focusing on myself and my healing process. I know the coming months will be challenging as we work through the divorce proceedings and as Sophie's pregnancy progresses. But I'm committed to moving forward, to rebuilding my life on my own terms. Thank you all again for your support. It means more than you know. Update 2. It's been 3 months since my last update, and a lot has happened. The divorce proceedings are well underway, and we're in the process of dividing our assets. It's been a painful reminder of the life we built together. Each item we're splitting feels like a memory being torn in half. The house we bought together, thinking we'd raise our family there, is being sold. Watching strangers walk through our home during open houses, eyeing the life we built, has been surreal. Sophie is now 6 months pregnant, and it's becoming impossible to ignore. Her baby bump is prominent now, a visible reminder of her betrayal every time I see her. She's still reaching out regularly, updating me on the pregnancy and asking me to reconsider my decision. Last week, she sent me a copy of the ultrasound. Seeing that grainy image of the baby, a baby that could have been mine under different circumstances, brought up a whirlwind of emotions I wasn't prepared for. I've maintained my stance on the divorce, but I'll admit that it's been difficult to completely shut her out. There's a part of me that still cares about her well-being, despite everything that's happened. It's a confusing mix of emotions, anger, betrayal, concern, and lingering affection all swirling together. Last month, I ran into Mark at a local coffee shop. It was the first time I'd seen him since discovering the affair. The sight of him stirred up a mix of emotions, anger, sadness, and a strange sense of loss. He tried to apologize again, his eyes pleading for forgiveness, but I couldn't bear to hear it. I left without saying a word, feeling a wave of emotions wash over me. The encounter with Mark led to a difficult few days where I found myself replaying memories of our friendship. Camping trips, late-night gaming sessions, being each other's wingmen at bars, all these memories now feel tainted. It's hard to reconcile the person I thought he was with the one who betrayed me so deeply. On a more positive note, I've moved into my own apartment. It's a small one-bedroom, but it feels good to have a space that's entirely my own. My sister Rachel and a few friends helped me move and decorate, which made the process feel less lonely. It's strange to be living on my own again after so many years of sharing a home with Sophie, but it's also liberating in a way. I've also started dating again, albeit cautiously. A colleague set me up with her friend, Emily, 29F. We've been on a few casual dates, and while I'm not ready for anything serious, it's been nice to have some companionship. Emily knows about my situation and has been understanding about taking things slow. It's refreshing to spend time with someone who doesn't know all the details of my past, who sees me as I am now rather than through the lens of my failed marriage. Work continues to be a good distraction, and I recently received a promotion. The increased responsibilities have been a welcome challenge, helping to keep my mind occupied during this difficult time. I'm grateful for the opportunity to focus on my career and personal growth. My relationship with my family has grown stronger through this ordeal. My parents have been a constant source of support, and I've become closer to my siblings. We've started having weekly family dinners, which has been a comforting routine. It's nice to be surrounded by people who love me unconditionally, especially when I'm still struggling with feelings of inadequacy and betrayal. As Sophie's due date approaches, I find myself grappling with conflicting emotions about the baby. While I still feel hurt and betrayed, there's a part of me that wonders about the child. Will it have Sophie's eyes? Mark's smile? Will it grow up knowing about me, the man who was supposed to be its father? I've decided to speak with my therapist about possibly establishing some boundaries that would allow me to have limited contact with the child in the future, if I choose to do so. The divorce should be finalized in the next few months, and I'm both dreading and looking forward to that day. It will be the official end of a chapter in my life, but also the beginning of a new one. I'm trying to focus on the future, on building a life that's authentically mine. I'm taking things day by day, focusing on my mental health and personal growth. While the pain of betrayal is still there, I can feel myself slowly healing and moving forward. There are still difficult days, but they're becoming less frequent. I'm learning to trust my own strength and resilience, and I'm cautiously optimistic about what the future might hold. Update 3, it's been 6 months since my last update, and I wanted to share some final thoughts on this chapter of my life. The divorce was finalized 2 months ago, marking the official end of my marriage to Sophie. Signing those final papers was a surreal experience. There was a moment of hesitation, my pen hovering over the signature line, as memories of our life together flashed through my mind. But in the end, I signed, feeling a mix of relief and sadness wash over me. Sophie gave birth to a baby boy 3 months ago. Despite my initial reservations, I decided to see the baby once, mainly to gain some closure. It was a surreal experience, holding this child that could have been mine under different circumstances. The baby has Sophie's nose and Mark's eyes. As I held him, I felt a confusing mix of emotions, a twinge of connection, sadness for what could have been, and a strange sense of peace. While I felt a momentary connection, I also felt reaffirmed in my decision to move on with my life. Mark reached out again after the baby was born, asking to meet and talk things through. After much deliberation, I agreed to a brief meeting at a neutral coffee shop. It was tense and emotional. We talked about our years of friendship, the betrayal, and its aftermath. While I don't foresee us ever being friends again, the meeting helped me release some of the anger I'd been holding onto. It was a step towards closure, even if forgiveness still feels out of reach. On a personal note, I've continued to focus on my own growth and happiness. I've taken up new hobbies, including rock climbing and photography, which have introduced me to new friends and experiences. The physical challenge of rock climbing has been particularly therapeutic, helping me push my limits and rebuild my confidence. My relationship with Emily has progressed slowly but steadily. We're taking things day by day, and her understanding and patience have been invaluable. She's been a bright spot in this difficult year, reminding me that there can be joy and trust in relationships again. Work continues to be fulfilling, and I recently had the opportunity to lead a major project. The success of this project has opened up new career possibilities that I'm excited to explore. Throwing myself into my work has been a positive distraction, allowing me to rebuild my sense of self-worth and purpose. My family remains a strong support system. Rachel is expecting her first child, and I'm looking forward to being an uncle. It's a reminder that life goes on, and new joys can emerge even after painful experiences. The weekly family dinners have continued, providing a constant source of love and support. As I reflect on the past year and a half, I'm amazed at how much has changed. The betrayal and heartbreak I experienced were incredibly painful, but they've also led to personal growth and self-discovery that I never expected. I've learned a lot about myself, my resilience, my capacity for forgiveness, even if I'm not there yet, and my ability to stand on my own. I still have moments of sadness and anger, but they're becoming less frequent. I'm learning to trust again, both in others and in myself. While I don't know what the future holds, I'm facing it with a cautious optimism and a strength I didn't know I possessed. To anyone going through a similar situation, know that healing is possible. It's not easy, and it doesn't happen overnight, but with time, support, and self-care, you can move forward and find happiness again. There's no set timeline for healing, and it's okay to have good days and bad days. Thank you all for your support and advice throughout this journey. Your kindness has meant more than you know. As I close this chapter of my life, I'm looking forward to writing the next one on my own terms.